This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Stranger Things Season 4's finale left us with so many questions. Spoilers, duh, but Max is in a coma now. The Duffer Brothers have confirmed that she is alive, but she is in fact blind right now. She's brain dead and broken all over. Just the same, well kind of, Vecna 2 is alive out there somewhere. Somehow he escaped and is probably working on gathering as big of an army as possible to attack Hawkins with. Eddie is now dead, or so we were led to believe. There's a giant portal that ripped open through the entire town of Hawkins that's literally shaped like the mouth of a Demogorgon. Not to mention, I want to see what the town has to say about all this since they're on the demonic cult craze still. I'm really curious if they're going to try to point fingers and blame it on the boys' Hellfire Club. But also, if the portal opens up like the mouth of a Demogorgon, it just peels back to let the mind flare into Hawkins, I'm going to lose it. Hey! Hey! There's so many big questions going into Season 5, not to mention why the Upside Down is stuck in the past and hasn't moved a day since Will went missing in Season 1, but also how on earth did Henry Creel get his powers? What are their plans with Will and his neck tingle this season? And what big character are they gonna kill off? If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Michael J, and for being the only Stranger Things channel that exists in the Upside Down, surprisingly enough, only 12% of the people watching right now are actually subscribed. Shout out to the 12%, you guys are the best. And if you're part of the 90% that's unsubscribed, what are you even doing? Go down and punch that subscribe button so hard it dissolves and gets banished to the Upside Down. It doesn't cost a thing. It's totally free and it really helps me out. We're trying to hit 500K by the end of the year, and I want you to be with us when we get there. For all the people that are subscribed, I'm leaving a plate of fresh warm cookies for you in the comments. Go get them while they're hot because we have a lot of Stranger Things to talk about. I've also been working with some really talented artists to make some really cool wallpapers to hold us over until Season 5. I posted one of Chrissy and Eddie at one of his concerts. Honestly, we didn't get enough of both of them together in Season 5. I also had another one made up of Hop and Joyce hugging that I really like, and I've been using these for the past week, so now you can too. I've got a few more that I'll be posting soon, so go follow my Twitter at @It'sMichaelJ and you can grab some sick art to use for your wallpapers. Now, starting off things strong, I just want to dive right into one of the most anticipated predictions for Season 5. That is, besides who they're going to kill off this season. I'll save that for last, so make sure you watch until the end of the video. But besides that, I haven't been able to stop thinking about Eddie's death and how just none of the gang even reacted to it. Or we didn't see them, at least. For how S-tier of a character Eddie was this season, I was so surprised when they only showed us Dustin's reaction to his death. Literally, so much potential to have a tear-jerking scene of the kids slowly realizing that Eddie didn't make it. I mean, I'm really happy that we got an emotional scene between Dustin and Eddie's uncle. Gayton absolutely killed it. That scene hit me harder than Hop and Elle's reunion. I don't know why, but I was just expecting it to be way more dramatic. But I just would really, at the very least, like to see Eddie's death addressed. I mean, he did die a hero, and Steve literally said, don't go trying to be a hero. And that's just what he did, dying to save the kids. He died trying to protect the town full of people that hated him. We spent so long developing his relationship to all of these characters in the gang, his relationship with Steve, Nancy, the boys. I want to see them address all the things they breezed over at the end of the finale, and this is one of my top things, because I think there will be a time jump in Season 5 to account for the actors getting so much older, but I think they have to spend at least half an episode present day. There's so much stuff that happened. The portals opened up, Eddie died, Max went into a coma. They need to explain some things. If they just skipped ahead 2 years immediately, there's just so much that's left unaddressed. The portal opening up in Hawkins alone is so huge, and I want to see everyone's reaction to that. I also want to see what happened to Eddie. There's a behind-the-scenes shot of Eddie's body getting loaded onto an ambulance that we never saw anywhere that got me thinking about so many things. Did they shoot this scene, the kids dragging him out of the Upside Down and them calling an ambulance to try to save him, and they cut it because they didn't have enough time? Or did they shoot a few scenes for the present-day shots to start off Season 5 with? I mean, by the time it comes out, another 2 years will have passed, so shooting a few shots now that they know they needed to include would make total sense. I mean, there's also a few Eddie theories that I made a video talking about. Definitely go watch that if you haven't seen it. One is about him having powers and being test subject 10 from MK Ultra, since he mentioned having a buzzed head when he was little, and because he took 11 having powers so easily and their ages lining up perfectly, not to mention he does kind of look like 10. And 10 was in the room with Brenner, who also survived the attack. That theory just gets so crazy, but there's also one that if the kids didn't save him from the Upside Down, if they just left him where we saw him last, he will be the first first person to die in the Upside Down? And just what if Vecna resurrects him to use him as a host like what he did with Will in Season 2 and Billy in Season 3? After taking all those Molotovs and shotguns to the face, Vecna is not doing so hot right now. Well, he is on fire, so I guess he's a little too hot right now, but you know what I mean. Unfortunately, I feel like both of these theories will just stay theories. As much as I would like to see them come true, I think we will at least get his death addressed by the gang. Next is Max, probably the biggest and most emotional thing left up in the air by the finale. I cannot believe they almost killed her off. It kind of felt like they didn't know if they wanted to kill her off or not, so they just kind of half killed her off, leaving her in this limbo where they could bring her back or kill her off in Season 5. And I made a full video about this as well. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a very interesting watch. But if you remember in episode 7, after Vecna kills everybody at Hawkins, he tells Eleven that everybody he's killed is still with him, in his head.
They're not gone, 11. They're still with me. In here.
And Brenner told Eleven that Henry is different. When he kills, he takes everything that person is, their memories, their abilities, their soul. But Max is the one person that Vecna's taken who still has her eyes. But real quick, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of classes covering anything you could ever want to learn. If you want to explore your creativity or learn some new skills or even invest in yourself with some personal growth, Skillshare is the best place to do it. Since I've been partnered with them for a few months now, I've really got some time to soak it all in, and Skillshare is one of the most inspiring and productive places that I enjoy spending my time on the internet. I just finished Louise Stiegel's course on portrait drawing for beginners, and I think it might be my favorite class yet. But now that I've completed that course, I really want to spend some time improving how I draw bodies, and while there are so many amazing teachers to learn from out there, Robert Marzullo's How to Improve Your Figure Drawing class really stuck out, so I think I'm going to start taking this one next. I feel like Skillshare is really giving me all the little pieces I need to finally be good at drawing people, and I'm so excited I'm finally getting to learn this. I love how many interesting classes there are, so I can learn anything I feel like, how to cook better, how to take care of my plants so they don't die. You could even learn how to start your own YouTube channel. Literally all of this at your fingertips, and if you want to try out Skillshare today, you can go down and click the link in my description, and the first 1,000 people will get a full entire month free of Skillshare to take all the classes your heart desires. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and thank you so much to you for checking out Skillshare. Now back to the video. Everyone Vecna targets he establishes a connection with, even with Will from Season 2. So I feel like Max can play a huge role in Season 5, but with the Duffer Brothers telling us that Will is going to get the spotlight, that makes me think that Max won't be in the spotlight so much since she had it all to herself in Season 4. But she could still help beat Vecna from the inside, since technically she's still connected to him. I think that she's still out there somewhere, trapped in Vecna's mind space and disconnected from her body. I would love to see them use Max to instead travel through Vecna's memories, kind of like what he did to her in Season 4 finale. They could use this to show more young Henry Creel flashbacks without the monologue. They could explore more of Vecna's backstory, which they've said they're already planning on doing. The biggest question is, will Max survive? Personally, I think there's a great chance that Max is going to survive. She might be in a coma for half the season, but if she comes back, there's a good chance that she'll get powers too, just like Will did with his true sight abilities. But what on earth would Max get? Blind with powers would be so cool to see, especially with Max's character to evolve into, but what are her powers going to be? Most likely something similar to Eleven's mind traveling powers, or something to do with seeing people's memories or trauma like they spent so much time on Season 4. Maybe she'll be able to find the root of Vecna's childhood trauma. I don't know, that would be really cool. Next for the spotlight is Will. I'm so glad that I'm finally saying this. Will has deserved the spotlight for so long now. We can only hope that things keep going right for him and Joyce takes him to a barber finally. But going into the next season, Will is going to be one of the team's most valuable assets besides Elle, of course. Well, I mean, Elle can't even do this. Yeah, Vecna is connected to Elle and Will both, but Elle doesn't have spidey senses. I mean, Vecna senses, like Will does. His true sight allows him to tell when Vecna is close to them, when the gang is in trouble. Like he said at the end of Season 4, he can still feel what Vecna feels and how he thinks.
Let's hope one is dead and rotting.
He's not. Now that I'm here in Hawkins, I can feel him. And he's hurt. He's hurting. But he's still alive.
He knows that Vecna is still alive when the others all thought he was most likely dead. Will knows that Vecna isn't planning on stopping until he wins. I would love to see Will's powers develop into something a little stronger in season 5, but even if he doesn't, he should still be on the front lines working alongside Elle and helping her fight Vecna. And honestly, I feel like Will's connection to Vecna and the Upside Down is way stronger than we think. Yeah, he's connected to Max now and he could resurrect Eddie in the Upside Down, but honestly, I think his connection to Will is stronger. They didn't show us all those similarities between Henry and Will for nothing. Will is special. They said that they were both sensitive children, different, outcasts from society. They showed both of them drawing the mind flare too. So many different things make them similar. I think Will is literally the direct opposite of Henry Creel. You see, Henry is an example of taking the world being cruel to you and reacting the wrong way to it, being hateful, killing people because of how they treat you, wanting to end the entire world. Everyone has been just as mean to Will, and he reacts the exact opposite, loving everyone and putting his friends and family before his own needs. I'm telling you, any day of the week, Will would give his own life to protect the people he loves. He's literally the example of how to respond properly to being mistreated, the exact opposite of what Vecna is, which honestly kind of terrifies me a little bit. They have the true heart of the group and they're finally giving him his time to shine. I want to look into the possibilities of them killing off Will in the end a little more in a video just for season 5 deaths, but I think the chance of them killing him off sacrificing himself to save his friends is pretty high. I think Vecna will be after him trying to use him as a host again and 100% toying with his hidden feelings and probably trying to twist him against his friends. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Vecna trying to turn Will to the dark side. I would really hate it if 11 had to fight Vecna in the end, but through Will. That is just not what we meant by giving Will the spotlight. Next, and I'm only going to briefly touch on this one, is how Henry Creel got his powers. This is one of my biggest questions just out of sheer curiosity. I'm hoping they'll take this opportunity to explain more of how powers work in this universe because in the Suspicious Minds book, Brenner puts out an ad in the newspaper looking for college-aged women with said remarkable skills, as if they already exist before he began his tests. Does that mean that just like 11, Henry got his powers from his mother too? Henry mentioned that after he killed his mom and sister, he woke up in Brenner's care, the doctor that he was trying to escape, implying that his mother was taking him to see Brenner beforehand. So many possibilities to explore. I think they held back on showing us his mother's backstory and what made her such a bad person, not the person she said she was. If she ends up having powers just like Henry, that would explain a lot. It also explained why he killed her first at the dinner table. It was so that she couldn't stop him with her powers. I would love to see them explore more of his childhood through some more monologuing to either Max or 11 or Will. I just want that confirmation of his mom having powers. They had to have come from somewhere, right? Next is the love triangle, the giant elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Now that Nancy is getting eyes for Steve again, and Jonathan and Nancy are growing distant from the literal distance and the secret that he doesn't want to go to college with Nancy anymore, this literally opens up an entire season's worth of love triangle possibilities. But I feel like with the shorter runtime this season, they won't have much time to spend on this love triangle, which makes me think that it's going to come down to someone dying so Nancy stays with the other. Now, as we know, this could go two different ways. Steve dies and she stays with Jonathan like they've been setting up for 3 seasons now, or Jonathan dies and since he's dead, Steve and Nancy get back together. Both I don't want to happen. Can't everyone just stay alive and be happy? I feel like going into season 4, Steve had a 88% chance of death. I mean, technically, when they first wrote his character, he was supposed to die back in season 1 during the Demogorgon fight at Joyce's place. It was a miracle that he survived as long as he has, but with all that emotional baggage they're layering on about his family dream, having 6 little tiny Harrington nuggets with Nancy, road tripping across the country on family vacations, going into season 5, his chance of death just went up to 95%. I mean, from the beginning, Nancy was always meant to be with Jonathan, but things change. The show evolves, the writers evolve, the characters evolve, and with them making Nancy and Jonathan distant, it's totally possible for it to come full circle and her to end up back with Steve. Or is that just the dream they want you to fall back into before they slow motion kill Steve in front of our eyes? Personally, they could have really played into the babysitter sacrifice in season 4, dying to save the kids he always protected, but I think season 5 will use him and Nancy as the emotional tie. If Jonathan were to die, I think it would be Vecna trying to get to Will. And for Jonathan being the only one that knows Will's secret and him feeling like he's the only person he can trust, it would be so freaking emotional to see Jonathan get killed off while Will watches. Still, I think Steve's chances of dying for the finale season are way higher. If they choose to not kill him off and just let him live and be happy for the end of the show, that would be the biggest plot twist of the entire show.
Boom! Bada, bada, boom.
Let me know what you think is going to happen in season 5. I think I could easily do another video on more season 5 predictions and might have to do one just on who's going to die. Let me know what you want to see next. I will see you soon with another video, but until then, I will see you in the Discord. Peace.